and accepted by the government through a white paper. Fast forward 5 years, 6 years, 7 years down the line, a curious journalist called Mustafa Suwadi to the Republic probed into the sales and disposals of the assets recovered. Normally, in any post-war and dictatorship, asset recovery becomes prominent because you recover assets of the perpetrator and use to rebuild a society because most often or not, after dictatorship or conflict, we have broken societies. And these societies needed to rebuild and victims needed to be reparated and trust, dignity, and financial discipline restored. And this is one of the principal reasons why asset recovery become prominent in any post-dictatorship or war. Gambia was not an exception to this. But guess what? We investigated corruption, and an investigative report come out that even the investigators of corruption becomes more corrupt than the corrupt. And the young people thought it's high time we take the streets. It's high time that there is a mass movement that ensure accountability, transparency, and respect for the rule of law become the cornerstone of our governance and our democratic dispensation and our democratization. When we went out in 8 May 2025 with an intent to protest, we were kidnapped and then our right to protest were seized and we were behind bars for 2 nights and 3 days. This came back to a movement of the masses, a movement of the people, a movement that have changed this country and we often say that they have never been the same again since May 8, 2025, and Gambia will never be the same again moving forward because the people's movement was born and a new Gambian was born that refused to be silenced, to be caged, and to accept corruption and so accountability matters. And today we are here. But also we need to remind ourselves that we are not here just simply because we wanted to be here. We fought to be here from May 8, 2025 to May 8, 2026. Actually, we had a better celebration. We celebrated it in behind bars, and then we celebrated it in the best and the most noble way that if the streets are stopped, we go behind bars, but the voices of the masses cannot be silenced and cannot be shut down, and power belongs to the people, and power to the people, and welcome the masses to this noble gathering. First, I would like us to sing the national anthem. DJ, if you're set, please take us to the national anthem. Please rise for the national anthem. Just and join our purpose to Thank you. Please rise up one more time. A minute silence for somebody. Vividly remember that May 8th, May 9th, and May 10th, while we are behind bars, Mustafa Kandi was one person that took the streets and slept on the street. And unfortunately, today, we are not with him. Can we have a 1 minute silence for Mustafa Kandi, for his soul to continue to rest in peace? And while we remind him that the struggle is continuing and Gambia will be free. Thank you. May his soul rest in power and dignity. Next, on the itinerary, I would love to call the Secretary General of the Gambia's Against Looted Asset for an opening chanting of the revolutionary and struggle songs. Omar Sayang, the floor and the podium is yours. Power! Power! I'm not hearing the noise. Power! 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 Thank you.
People, people. I want to be tall, but now that I have to be used. Okay, so it's just going to be very brief. Good afternoon. Okay, so we go now. So one, two, three. This my rifle, this my gun. This for battle, this for war. And if I die on a battlefield, tell my people I did my best. Because I'm a fighter. Because I'm a fighter. This my rifle, this my gun. This for battle, this for war. And if I die in a battlefield, tell my people I did my best. Because I'm a fighter. Because I'm a fighter. Because I'm a fighter. Everywhere we go, people wanna know who we are. And so we tell them that we are the Gala youth, the mighty, mighty Gala youth. That we are the Gambian youth, the mighty, mighty Gambian youth. So everywhere we go, people wanna know who we are. And so we tell them, say everywhere we go, people wanna know who we are. And so we tell them that we are the Gala youth, the mighty, mighty Gala youth, the mighty, mighty Gala youth. Say everywhere we go, people wanna know who we are. And so we tell them we are the Gala youth, the mighty, mighty Gala youth. Power! People! People! Power! Power! Thank you, comrades.
Thank you, Secretary General and Head of Choir for Gala. Alright, thank you very much, Omar, and that is a good warm up. Before we get into program proper, I will want to follow a few protocols. I will agree with acknowledging stakeholders, but we need to acknowledge the stakeholders. So first of all, greetings to the National Coordinator of Activista, Mr. Atsumana Kamara. Activista have not just been a partner, but a parent body to Gala. Thank you for the support, and thank you for the solidarity, and thank you for always guiding and showing us the way. To the executive director and the team from Edward Fatu Small Center for Right and Justice, Mr. Mani Jobat and the team, you're welcome. Thank you for the support and the solidarity. And to the executive director and founder of Gambia Participate, Mr. Marjan, thank you for the support, the continuous advice, even though sometimes we only say, okay, sir, we're going to do it, and we do something different. But we appreciate all of you here and the rest of the civil society, I would also want to acknowledge the presence of the former national coordinator of Gambians Against Looted Assets, Mr. Mohammed Sise, who still continue to be in the struggle. And thank you for being with us, and thank you for being here. To the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, special greetings to the national coordinator, the supreme leader, and the commander-in-chief of the masses, Mr. Hakim Toure. With your permission, I want to start the program proper. Next on the agenda, I would love to call on um, Supreme Leader, Mr. Hakim Toure, to give the opening statement. As Hakim Maj, Hakim is an embodiment of not just a leader, but a guardian and a courageous individual that took a movement at a point that people thought that was the end of Gala. He gave Gala life. Gala continued to breathe, continued to fight, and the achievement for the last 1 year would have not been possible if there was no Hakim Toure. Please put your hands together to the Supreme Leader while he takes the stage.
Do I need the stage? Okay. I don't know how to use this here. Saibo, can you help me with holding this? And good evening to you all and our secretary. Hopefully, we will not die in the struggle, God willing. We will continue to fight, inshallah. Good evening, comrades, fighters and steadfast believers in the struggle against oppression, injustice, and bad governance. To our legal team, the mic is off. Right now, and to our legal team present here, members of the media, and all distinguished guests present, I warmly and humbly welcome you all to this first anniversary of resistance, courage, and unwavering confrontation in the face of injustice. Today we gathered not merely to commemorate, but to reflect. We reflect on the sacrifices made, the challenges endured, and the resilience demonstrated in our collective pursuit of justice. Our struggles have not been in vain. It has been rooted in the desire to eradicate corruption, improve the lives of our people, uplift the conditions of our communities, and enhance and advance the progress of our nation. On the 8th of May 2025, this movement was born out of a defining moment, a moment when patriotic and courageous young people of this country were unlawfully arrested and detained simply for peacefully assembling under a tree beside the pavilion of the Banjul City Arch. Our intention was clear and just to prepare for a protest demanding for the immediate release of the full list of buyers of the asset of our former President Yahya Jammeh. That moment of injustice and brutality ignited a movement we named Gala. And today, 1 year later, we stand not weakened, but committed, more determined, and more united and stronger than ever. As we mark this anniversary, let it serve as a renewed declaration of our unwavering dedication to justice, accountability, and complete eradication of corruption in our country. We will not relent. We will not be silenced. We will not be intimidated. And we will continue to stand firm until transparency, integrity, and good governance prevail. God bless the struggling masses and God bless the Gambia. Thank you all. Power to the people. Okay, a picture. I think that's enough.
We will never be intimidated. We will never fear until we restore dignity, integrity, and accountability in the Gambia. These are the words of the Supreme Leader, not me, though. Thank you very much, National Coordinator, for those statements. Next, we're going to have solidarity statement from. Next, we're going to have solidarity statements from our partner organizations. And but before that, I am told that one of our comrades, a sister, who is busier than any other person when we are behind bars is in the building. Then I federal governments. Then I federal governments. Power belongs to the people. Power belongs to the people. Welcome, comrade. Thank you very much for being part of this struggle. I don't even need to thank you to be part of it, but for protocol purposes, so that stakeholders are intact. Next, we will start with an activista, and we will also call the national coordinator, Mr. Ansumana Kamara, to give a solidarity statement. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ansumana Kamara, just like I was coordinator for Activists at the Gambia, and I am really happy to give this solidarity statement on behalf of my organization, which reads, distinguished guests, colleagues, and fellow citizens, I greet you all. Today we gather to celebrate 1 year of Gala's existence, a movement that has stood firm as the voice of the people, holding duty bearers accountable for their actions and inactions which directly affect the lives of the masses. In this short time, Ghana has proven that when citizens unite with courage and conviction, they can challenge injustice and demand accountability. Every concerned Gambian must recognize that Ghana belongs to all of us. It is not the responsibility of its members alone, but of every citizen to protect them, to ensure their safety, and to defend their right to speak truth to power. The well-being of The well-being is our collective responsibility because their struggle is the struggle of every Gambian. Let it be clear that Ghana is not a group of young rebels. Ghana is a body of citizens demanding a just and equitable society where every Gambian enjoys the dignity of life. This vision is shared by activists at the Gambia, which is why we stand shoulder to shoulder with Ghana in collaboration and solidarity. Together we affirm that justice, equity, and dignity are not privileges, they are rights. We therefore call on the government of the Gambia to withdraw all cases against Ghana members currently before the courts. Criminalizing voices of conscience and only weakens our democracy and undermines the very principle of justice that the state is bound to protect and uphold. As we mark this milestone, let us recommit ourselves to build a Gambia where civic voices are respected, where accountability is the norm, and where every citizen can live free, dignified, and empowered. Long live Gala, long live the struggle for justice, and long live the Gambia. Power to the people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ansumana. Gala is forever grateful for the solidarity, for the support, and those words to the masses and to the Gambian government is clear and loud that Gala are not criminals, and we will never be criminals. But it's also been the voices of the masses will make us criminals. We are probably going to continue to be criminals for the best reason and for the masses. Next on the agenda, I want to acknowledge the presence of our continental activist, Mr. Babukar Jang. It's an oversight. Chai is my boy, so the I remember when we were arrested for Babukar was out of town. Like he could not do his meetings and all of that. And I'm seeing all our comrades all out here to Team Dr. Boba. Thank you for always being here. And particularly, I said I have been not being a spokesperson for 3 nights. And the spokesperson during that weekend is no other person but Mr. Lavin C. Guys, I want to hear that those claps so loud for this guy. Um, I remember the first time he entered the cells, he was like, I'm going to be here very soon, and Hakim have to get up from the sleep and say, Lamin, see, I don't want to see you behind bars. And every 2 minutes, Hakim have to send a message outside so that he makes sure that Lamin doesn't join us in the cells. Lamin embodies so much of what it takes to fix a country. Comrade, thank you very much. And on behalf of Team Saboma, I invite you to the podium for your solidarity statement. Please join me to welcome Lamin C to the podium. Lamin C is Team Saboma. Lamin C is Gala. Lamin C is the Gambia. Put your hands together for Lamin as he takes the podium.
Alright, thank you so very much. Oh, all right. Good afternoon, everyone. Or should I say good evening? Like I was already introduced, my name is Lamin C. I serve as the national coordinator of an organization called Team Conservova, and as well to Gala too, because this service organization. But at the end of the day, we are the things that we fight for. It's a common goal attached to it. So I'm Gala, I'm Conservova, like he rightly said. I'm EFS, I'm all of it. So I'll be doing the solidarity statement for my organization. Um, this is how it goes. To our dear sister movement, we stand in full solidarity with you following the painful violations of your rights and last week and, and last year as well too. Your courage, your resilience, and unwavering commitment to justice continue to inspire us all. So okay, continue to inspire us all, even in the face of intimidation and injustice. No movement fighting for dignity, freedom, equality should ever be silenced or mistreated. Please know that you are not alone in this struggle. Your voices matter, your work matters, and your right must be respected and protected as well. We strongly condemn all actions that sought to undermine your freedoms and weaken your efforts. Such violations are not only attacks on your movement, but also on the principle of human rights, democracy, and collective justice that unite us all. In movements like this, solidarity becomes our shared strength. We remain committed to standing beside you, amplifying your voices, and supporting your calls for accountability and respect of human rights. May you continue to find strength in unity, hope in community, and determination in your vision. Together, we will continue to resist injustice, and work towards a future built in dignity, peace, and equal for all. So this was the statement from written by our PRO, Felix Dan. He should have been the one to read the statement, but he had a very serious emergency, so he could not make it and have to step in. You know, although moments like this are very emotional for me, you can feel that in my voice. But like I'd like to add on it is let us keep on pushing because at the end of the day, the country belongs to all of us. As youth of this country, and the future of our children, we cannot just let this government and any other administration narrow down our efforts when it comes to democracy and human rights. So we are solidarity with our sister movement, Gala. We keep fighting with you, until the right thing is done. Power to people.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Comrade Lamin C, and truly power to the people. Next, I would like to call on Mr. Marjan, Executive Director of Gambia Participate for their solidarity statement. Mr. Marjan. So, like I said in his introduction, Mar will call me and advise me, and in the next minute we do something or he'll call me, sir, go back and take it over. But he also forget that he trained so much us to get above, and now he wants to be a little bit calm. But the trainees will continue to be stubborn. So it's a good thing to have, man. And thank you for always being in solidarity and for supporting the movement and the voices of the masses. The podium is yours. Go down, go down there.
Assalamu alaikum. Just to start, uh, I don't want to call them these kids, but I think Mari Jabate will be so proud of his decades of work. He was seen to be the most stubborn activist, well, stubborn in a good way in this country, but now he has produced those that are far more stubborn than Mari. I think we are on the other side of the spectrum. Um, yes, we don't want our youth folks to always be arrested. And I remember making a lot of calls before today, um, called Saibo, Mahdi, and Hakim, so many others, just to ensure that our youth are protected because we want our youth to be alive to achieve the great work that they were doing. But first, it's important to shed light on why Gala exists. If animals were not sold equivalent to the prices of tissue paper, there would not have been Gala. If luxury vehicles were not sold to the equivalent of, or should I say, price less than $5,000, there would not have been Gala. If landed properties were not forfeited, or should I say, assets that were forfeited allegedly through corrupt means, if they were not disposed of through corrupt means, then there would not have been Gala. If the assets of Yahya Jammeh were disposed of in a very transparent manner, there would not have been Gala. If the correct valuation of assets were done transparently, disposed of transparently, and the proceeds of those assets were reported on how they were used, Gala would not have existed. So, in essence, Gala existed because of the concern of public sector corruption, and it continues to be a concern. And we keep telling the government the way citizens are given urgent attention if they experience accident at the accident emergency at the clinic, corruption should be treated as such. It is costing lives. It is through that failure in our public sector and corruption that we lost almost over 6 decades of AKI. So the government needs to understand and acknowledge that yes, there is corruption. And when people talk about corruption, we are not saying everyone in the government is corrupt, but people have responsibility of oversight. People have responsibility of accountability. And then also, accountability cannot be selective. If it is selective, people are going to come up organically. And I don't want to give a TED talk, but to our law enforcement officers, I don't think this was difficult. Today, everyone is here seated, civilized, talking professionally, calmly. So it's really unnecessary to be exercising a lot of force for such. I commend them obviously for allowing this to happen, but most importantly, going forward, Gala and any other youth organization or movement that want to come out and protest against corruption, they must not be subject to harsh treatment. They must not be subject to sending them to the cell to spend their weekend. There is no gain in doing such. I believe there are those undermining the progress of this country and they're in government. There are those that have been benefiting illicitly from public wealth, they're in government. The police have the mandate to investigate and prosecute corruption. They should redirect that resources and energy in investigating and holding those people accountable. So to Gala, yes, we're going to have disagreements. We want the best for Gala, and I now understand Gala's game. Cyber has already exposed that. We will advise, and he will tell me, yes, yes, I'll get back to you. And the next time I will see them arrested, right? So thank you very much, and Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Mark. That's the beauty of movements. We are going to change the tactics now. So you're not ever not going to get to us. But like you said, there will have not been no gala if the Jami assets were disposed properly. And there's only gala because there is highly public sector corruption. And I keep saying lately that there are three religions in this country. There is Islam, there is Christianity, and there is corruption. And people worship corruption more than they go to the churches and the mosques. Then corruption must end. Because corruption is a disease that kills a society. And a dull society cannot prosper, cannot progress, and cannot develop. Thank you very, very much for that statement. Bali na mo ilalu. Bal konto na gambi no lumbe gambi yang aning gambi la bantala bangkogan. Anal bali malen Omar Sego Kamara Galara Diamula. Be pending jam be mo na wala ngal haklo bagang na kibaro di ko kala be sadikling jura lokela ning haklo bagang sadikling koma me karo kli saila kuning kel finta ning bangko kan kela balambaya itandi ka jini karo me tending ya jamela bagasul mu yanon ko ye kapunyo madan ko ay sunyaro din tagiri te ko bagasul sono bagasul din naraka kapunyo ma bari mo nyara ka pindi ka boy Mustafa Suwandi Dago wala journalist o mun ka kisi lo ke ka mo investigate journalist ala ka ida ko bagasol jinde ye kisi le ba ne kisi ro fanan ke wati le pro yo ko do ta ya ke ba ko la ran ke so no nara ka de ko a wati ro din kere nyami anin silo manta and wo mu ko dum yalla ko akan nakarul na ngani sunyaro man sa kun agale ka mo ye corruption banko dumul fijita kela barambaya ita ka masa kunda jini ka muna re mahu tama jini silol masa kunda na ka jabi funding kel kan yeso tilim fula tilis saba suda fula bini fijita we muna wulu wala ay ka folo wulu ka fo mu yalan ko ako ibe barambaya na ka ko molte dele la jantol ka ko de ya de ko masa kunda tama ngani to jani mono mono silol la and ni jumata bila mun kel ten fijita ka wole jura roke ning polisol nara ka sere nyoga ko bal alhamdulillah di fere fitna ko deke ka jiglo ke ka ita di banku di mulla ko tel man ke din mul di mu yalo ko ko jale bento na jere ko banku mu ta ka ni kairo ko ko tel ngam mu je wolen ko gambia man fukare ya ka samma ni min ani ka sunya ro mi ke wala na be fukare ya ko ka ita ni mo na ko mo ma ka na ta ro ka na farmasi mu ka goro sam farmasi mu do na dinu ka na karam mu do bare ka karam no properly me o be mo jambi and Galas, Galas, are you anywhere close to me? Can you translate in Wolof, Galas, please? Just 2 minutes to translate what I said in Wolof. Galas, Galas, I'm an authority in this country, so if I ask you to do something, you have to do it. High morals, high discipline. High moral, high discipline. Thank you, Galas. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll have Galas run us down quickly in Wolof and Ablai Tiba in Pulan, and then we're going to have our final solidarity statement and we get into our further discussions. Also, I'm very democratic. Do you guys need prayer break or is already gone? You have already prayed. Oh, I like that. That's why I'm just pretending to be democratic, but that's a nice thing. Though. And the last 30 seconds.
high moral, high discipline. Salaamaaleykum. ñu ngi leen a nuyu yéen ñi fi teew yëpp di la nuyu ku nekk si sa tur ak sa santa di wax ne tey bés bu mag la because ku nekk dafa am si li nga bokka ba pare ñun dañ bokka si loo xam ne ñun ñëpp ñoo ko taxawal muy Gambia against looted assets ñu ngeen ko yoo xamee si Gala ñëw nañ nag ba nga xam ne fu mu nekk nit ñi wax nañ ñu ne ñu wàññi English buñ dee speak ba pare di blend our local languages because su fekkee ne da nga xool the suffering masses of this country ñu ne change narrative si dëkk bi soo ko xoolee from independence to date Gambia the uneducated people always know they change narrative si dëkk bi buñ toogee ba 2016 Solo Sandeng will disappear the TA leadership ak party the uneducated people ñoom nga daan gis ñoom ñoo dee nekk si street bi elites yi moom always robbing their backs di xaar pour things yi sotti ñu ñëw indi seen credentials ne ñoom they are the competent people this country has always been like that so Gambia against looted assets lu ko taxawal moom moo nekk ne past régime bi ci nekkoon 22 years mu jógee fi nit nekkoon fi président bi moo toog mu am $700 yi overdraft mu génn fi after 22 years nit ki ñëw am ay billions of dollars si assets Moustapha Souane daa ko fi ko nit ñi génn si tali bi ñu téye ñu si lañ nit ñi doon di laajte liste boobu noonu pour mu génn foofu la Gala dooree présidents yooyu noonu ñu ko set ñu dem ba ñu rey Omar Badji Mandinari ñu bëggoon koo dugal si under the carpet Gala génnaat fu mu nekk case bi dem na ba court bañ admit ne si loxo police yi la dee Bojang Ousseynou ñu dem frame ko si ku rey ñaari police moom ak système ñu dugal leen meltu génnee leen ba bugga leen a dugalaat Gala dem génnaat si biir tali bi jaamaarloo ak police yi nguur gi amaatut lu moo def mu génnee loolu so Gala daf fi nekk pour di xeex not pour di xeex jaay doole pour dëkk bi ku nekk ku fi nekk nga war a mun a nekk si loo xam ne nii kenn warut laa mun a jaay doole injustice ak accountability loolu moom moo indi Gala tey du ngeen mark 1 year suñu anniversaire Gala is not a political party it doesn't have any interest of being a political party because wax bi dafa bugg a leen da ngeen toog di gis nit ñi de dañ dégg ne da ngeen am candidate Gala mënut a am candidate Gala mënut a bokk a élection ku bokk si executive bi Gala sax bugg a dem taxawal élection dañ laa wax ne excusal movement bi nga dem taxawal sa bopp Gala daf fi nekk pour di xeex jaay doole Gala daf fi nekk pour di xeex noteel si biir dëkk bi te assets yooyu noonu ba tey full list bi génnaagut 66 xale yoo xam ne nii dañ leen jox garab bu bon bañ dee si biir dëkk bi nii nga xam ne ba tey ministry of health yoo wut si kenn mel kenn resignut te 66 xale dee si biir dëkk bi Gala loolu la moo xeex Gala mu ngi xeex leneen lu bari li nga xam ne moom moo nekk si biir dëkk bi nga xam ne Gambia dañ bugg a pour mu nekk dëkk boo xam ne nit ku fi nekk di fi eewoo si biir dëkk bi everything li nga bugg a war na laa mun a ñëw fekka ci loo xam ne nii corruption doo ko si dugal so lii moom moo indi ci Gala ba pare lii moom moo ñu ñëw indi so ñun dañ fi ñëw tey pour célébrer 1 year anniversaire lii ba pare di leen wax ne yéen a nekk doole Gala yéen a nekk di direct lu Gala dee demee te 1 year bii nii ñu ngi ñaan yàlla pour ñu célébrer ko ay ati at ba Gambie buñ bugga ñu mun koo am nuñ ko buggee jërë ngeen jëf.
Thank you very much.
Was that what you said?
Yes, yes. I'm not sure if you have translated exactly the way I said, but you tried. High morals, high discipline. Thank you. And I'm like, think about 30 seconds in plan. I don't know how to manage that, but I'm almost running off time. So please do that quickly. But before that, I want to acknowledge the presence of the National Human Rights Commission and our billing and our councils, but I will come back to our councils properly after the plan before I get into the panel discussion and the rest of the solidarity statements. But for now, the one that is visible here is Jenny Jai, Kansul Jai. Thank you for coming and thank you for standing by us. Thank you for the pro bono and thank you for being the people's lawyer. And to the rest of the lawyers, let me do it quickly so that you come. Kansul Nere Cham and the entire Gambia Bar Association, LS Kamara, Lamin Jenabo, Abdullah Fati, Salim Tal, Mariama Tabari, Mohammed Badi, Hassan Martin, and all the other lawyers that think of to defend truth and Karijan Ijalo to defend truth. Yes, I've already acknowledged the president of the Human Rights Commission. To our lawyers, thank you for defending truth. Thank you for defending democracy. Thank you for defending human rights. And technically, thank you for fighting against corruption because defending people that fight against corruption is technically fighting against corruption. The people's lawyer, once again, can we put our hands together for the lawyers? Power to the lawyers. Thank you very much. So next we have Abdullah Tiba for 30 seconds in plan. And then we have Edward Francis Small Center for Rights and Justice for Solidarity Statement. Then we have Marco, then African Rising. Thank you.
By the way, yesterday I got a goal that I should really need to go back to the village and learn Quran again. But let me just try. Alright. Assalamu alaikum, Musid Gambia. Ko min mbiɗo mon Abdoulaye Tiba e mbori mbootaay Gala mbootaay mo annduɗaa ko daraniɗo leydi ndi ɗo pour haɓogol corruption jaay doole yo laaran laamu ngu no nawira leydi ndi yeesoɗa ta alel leydi ndi yimɓe fof waɗane njëriñ so ngu ñango hannde Gala en no hitaande gilam ɓe fuɗɗi won e ndi leydi Gambia ɗo kono hitaande yawtude nde yimɓe fof si siwtori même mbaɗi koye hewti nanngama ɓe anaɓa kaso ɓe anaɓa mayel tuu ɓe yaha koot haa jooni ɓe funtani dakkoɓe criminaliji ɓe funtani dakkoɓe sukaɓe ɓe annduɗa ɓe yoori koye kono ɓe funtu comme lamɗogol alel Yaya Jammeh omo accinoɗo gila mo immiɗo 2016 government o waɗino established commission hono ɓe nanndi on haalis commission o ɗon addino recommendation mumen kono mo waɗaka implement ɗum funtinno Gala May 8 last year government o funti nangiɓe sogiɓe balɗe tati sorry gilam ɗen noon Gala funtina darani leydi ndi ɓe funti ko annduɗa leydi ndi ko no yeesa yeeso dal tagi ɓe daro so basically ɗum woni movement o and minen waɗa assort Gambian that min continent daranogol leydi ndi min continent haɓonogol leydi ndi and min continent ko annduɗa ko nawra leydi ndi yeeso dal and min wona min himmino caggal naggugol min naggol min kaso rek mi fogani ɗum himmitan min caggal kono ɗum ɓeyɗan min ɓokku doole ko anytime laamu ngu nangi Gala ɗum funti next time Gala na ɓeyɗa e doole and as far as corruption na ɗo as far as yeygol doole na continue e leydi Gala continue na funta e mbedda e na lamɗo and waɗa fight corruption injustice yo ko naɓaɗa leydi ndi yeeso on jarama thank you
I'm like, injustice and corruption is not plan. I agree with you that it's back to the village again. But thank you very much. And next, I have a singular honor to call on Miss Adipatu Ba to read this solidarity statement on behalf of Edward Francis Small Center for Right and Justice. Please put your hands together for another movement. I don't think Edward Francis Small is an organization. It's one of the biggest movements actually. Thank you for always standing by the people.
You should be fine. You should be fine. I should be. You should be fine. Okay, good evening, colleagues. It's a pleasure to deliver this statement on behalf of the Able Country Small Center for Rights and Justice. And here it reads, 1 year ago, on 8th May 2025, a new wind began to blow across the Gambia. From the courage of a few young citizens grew a national movement called Gambians Against Looted Assets, Gala. that has since become a beacon of hope for transparency, accountability, and true democratic renewal. On this first anniversary, the Edward Francis Small Center for Rights and Justice stands in unwavering solidarity with Gala and all Gambians who refuse to let the dream of a just, corruption-free Gambia fade. Following the then report by the Republic highlighting the dubious process in the sale of Jammeh assets and the official cover-up, young Gambians, tired of secrecy and impunity, organized. On this day in 2025, Gala held its first peaceful protest in Banjul, demanding answers, due process, and a proper accounting of the nation's looted assets. What has followed ever since was a testament to the movement's resolve. Despite arrests and persecution of its members and other protesters, Gala refused to be silenced. Within just 1 year of its establishment, Gala has emerged as one of the most impactful citizen-led accountability movements in the Gambia through strategic activism, public mobilization, petitions, peaceful assembly, and consistent civic engagement. Gala has succeeded in placing the issue of stolen public assets and public accountability at the center of national discourse. The emergence and growth of Gala reflects an encouraging reality that a new generation of citizens is prepared to organize peacefully, speak boldly, and defend the public interest without fear or favor. This is essential for the consolidation of democracy, protection of national resources, and strengthening of the rule of law in our nation. As Ghana marks this important milestone, the Edward Francis Small Center for Rights and Justice encourages the movement to remain principled, peaceful, independent, and steadfast in its activism. The struggle for accountability, transparency, and justice is a long term national responsibility requiring persistence, courage, and integrity. We salute the leadership, members, and of course supporters of Gala for their patriotism and commitment to the public good. On this fourth anniversary, the EF Small Center hereby calls upon the government of the Gambia to drop all charges against all protesters and to ensure that the rights to peaceful assembly, guaranteed by Section 25 of the 1997 Constitution, is fully respected. To adopt and implement all recommendations from the National Assembly's Special Select Committee inquiry into the Jammeh asset sales, to protect the civic space, activists, journalists, and citizens from retaliation, intimidation, or selective justice based on their lawful exercise of fundamental rights. On this occasion, we also make an urgent call to action to every citizen of the Gambia, at home and in the diaspora. You are not powerless. Speak about corruption at home, in your workplaces, in your mosque and in your church, in taxis and markets, sign petitions, attend lawful assemblies, support organizations like Gala and others with your time, your voice, and of course with your resources. Register to vote and hold your elected representatives accountable between elections. Demand receipts, demand audits, demand answers. As Edward Francis Small taught us, the people's power is the ultimate check on authority. For our part, the EF Small Center pledges to remain a vigilant partner to Gala and to all movements fighting for transparency, accountability, and the rule of law in the Gambia. Together we carry forward the torch lit by Edward Francis Small, a torch 1 year ago, Gala lifted than ever before. So happy first anniversary to Gala and power to the people. Thank you all.
Happy first year anniversary to Gala and power to the people. And on behalf of the Gambians Against Looted Asset, we want to assure that World Party Small will continue to be principled, to be independent, and the fight to restore dignity and fix this country will continue. Thank you very much, Ali. We want to, those who are standing behind, can you please sit down? If you're standing, Kaira, Can I sit down? All right, please let's have we have empty seats, so let's sit down, please, so we are on the same page. And next, I will want to call on Mr. Aliuba to read a solidarity statement from Mwampo, our concrete movement from East Africa. Mr. Aliu, please, the podium is yours.
Thank you, sir. Um, I'm a founding member of MOAMCO. MOAMCO is a Pan-Africanist, Marxist, leftist political education collective that is currently based in Nairobi. Um, and we have a statement for Gala. Even though I am a member of Gala, which is a bit strange. Fraternal greetings from MOAMCO. Uh, it's always beautiful when we encounter the historic in its conscious form. This is an intentional and conscious attempt at bending the moral and material arc of Gambia and Africa towards a new society and world. Historical processes happen either with or without our participation. History is here recognized as an objective force, but there are times when the process is subdued and made to submit to the subjectivities of the people. This is one such event, even as it holds itself to a process. We at Moamco, with this forward movement to clarify and direct the discourse and praxis of the major desires and aspirations of the masses of our people. A commemoration such as this one, we believe beckons towards those defiant and beautiful dreams, but both as a negation of reaction and an affirmation of a radiant progress. We exist in truly dark and trying times, times where the human condition has been reduced to the greed of a few, to the whims and capricious desires of these agents of surplus value. As such, then, it becomes the responsibility, historical and otherwise, of all those who believe that we can change the world, since we have no choice but to believe in it. We don't have the luxury of pessimism or cynicism. That ship has sailed a long time ago. Here you are, comrades, have yet again begun a call, a newness rooted in the old but beautiful call of complete liberation in our lifetime. We use the word beautiful here because freedom is the absence of ugliness and the reenactment of beauty and as praxis beyond the realm of necessity. Glory to the struggle, glory to the righteous masses of the Gambia, when Africanism or perish, socialism or barbarism. Good luck and forward till we meet in the new world. Yeah? Salute.
Thank you, Aliu. That voice was from Manko, but also from Gala. And also, Aliu is the Aliu have a lot of names, including the appetizer for police brutality. You know what that means. The police, our Aliu didn't like even and they could and all of that, but it's part of the struggle. And thank you very much, Aliu, for that beautiful work. And then our greetings to our comrades in Kenya. Message well received will be executed as planned. Thank you. And we'll now call on the final statement from the continental movement. Probably we call it the parent of all movements in Africa. African Rising is a Pan African movement that shoulder most of the uprising movements support them, but also they are financially supporting Gala in most of our the continental coordinator could not be here, but I've sent a message and I would now have the singular honor to invite Omar Sanyang, the Secretary General of Gala, to lead the statement on behalf of African Rising. Comrade, the podium is yours.
So, very line. Good evening once again, and I am your mics. We have a lot of mics here today. Taiwo. Okay. I want your mom. Don't my mic. Okay. So I'm reading the statement from African Rising. African Rising statement of solidarity to Gambians and included assets on your 1 year anniversary.
African Rising extend revolutionary greetings and solidarity to the courageous young people of the Gambia under the partnership of Gambians against looted assets as you marked 1 year of principled struggle. In just 1 year, Gala has emerged as a powerful expression of people's resistance against corruption, impunity, and the continued looting of public wealth that belongs to the ordinary African people. Your resistance and organizing reflects a deeper truth across our continent that Africa's crisis is not lack of resources, but the deliberate, capitalist, and greedy systematic disposition of the people by political elites who have no interest of seeing a prosperous, united, and economically liberated Africa. Your demand for transparency and accountability in the recovery and the management of stolen assets that belongs to the Gambian people resonate far beyond the Gambia. It speaks to a continental struggle against state capture where public institutions are proposed to serve narrow class interests rather than the collective will of the people. As African Rising, we recognize that your movement stands within a long and uncompromising tradition of African resistance, one that refuses silence, rejects fear, and asserts that public wealth must serve public good. The spirit of Thomas Sankara lives on in this generation's refusal to normalize theft, injustice, and elite domination. We are clear that movements like yours, which confront power, at its roots will face repression, criminalization, and coordinated attacks from the reactionary forces. These were not just signs of weaknesses, but confirmation of the threat that organized people's power poses to entrenched interests. As African Rising, we reaffirm that the defense of civic the defense of civic, the defense of civic space, the protection of activists, and the strengthening of grassroots people-to-people solidarity are essential to build a truly liberated continent. The struggle you are waging is not an isolated fight. Across the continent, people's movements are rising against the plunder of public wealth. Pan-African coordination must not be treated as a luxury. It is a strategic necessity. Each victory against looting in the Gambia strengthens our voices across Africa in their demand for the return of stolen wealth. As African Risings, we commit to deepening the links between your struggle and the people's movement across the continent, fostering a united front and collective solidarity against a system of extraction that knows no borders. The forces will confront The forces we confront are interconnected and our resistance must be equally united. As, as you mark this milestone under the condition of repression, arrest, and state intimidation, we urge you to remain resolved, deepen organization, strengthen political clarity, and continue advancing the principle that the wealth of Africans must be controlled by its people. The struggle against looted assets is inseparable from the broader struggle of economic justice, African unity, dignity, and genuine people's power. We stand with you in solidarity, in struggle, and in collective pursuit of a just and liberated Africa. Forward with the struggle against corruption. And we will continue. Amandla! Thank you.
If you are, if you assign a Pan African to read a Pan African movement statement, it sounds so good and so aligning. Thank you very much, Omar. Next, we're going to have an interlude whilst we set up for the first panel. And I would like to call on the following people to join me on stage for the first panel. And the topic of the panel is on consolidating the struggle, deepening people's power. The mic is losing it. Consolidating the struggle, deepening people's power. And the following people are going to be in this panel. But let DK give us an interlude. I think people are getting ready to be bored. Or you want me to call Omar back for another revolutionary song? The DK or Omar? DK or Omar? Omar, there is a song that emerged from the cells. You want to sing that song? No, but you know, then Omar. So this is a song that everybody knows actually. And when we were in the cells, we try to fix it and then put in some revolution. If, I don't know if it's going to be revolutionary, but let me try. If I cannot go and Omar will pick up from me because I'm very bad at songs. But I think it goes like this. Omar, just come for a standby in case I mess up. So yeah, Omar, thank you very much. Come this way, come this way. So we had this song late night, and it goes like this. Na 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 ye na ho na ye na vende na dalia amambete adamala jimaya amambete parola jimaya jampamambete ya. Do you agree? Do you agree with this song? If you agree, we go together. One, two, three. Na 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 eh. We are not getting anything. Let me act like some Mrs. Enya. Can you hear me? Are you there? Are you there? Can we go? We go? Na 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 eh. Na oh na na eh. Na 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 ya. Amambete aramala jimanya, amambete balora jimanya, jampa mambete ya. Nada ye, nada ye. Amambete aramala jimanya, amambete balora jimanya, jampa mambete ya. Power, power. All right. We are getting set for the panel now, and I would like to call on the following people to take the stage. Can we have Mr. Madi? Pull it. Can we have you can play the you can play the music at a very low tone while the panelists take their seat. That should be okay. DK Madi. Can play the music at a very low tone while I call them to come? Can you have Mr. Madi Jobaden? Mr. Madi Jobaden? Mr. Marnyang? Mr. Marnyang? Miss Awada Costa, Miss Awada Costa, and Mr. Babu Kanyang. The first panel, consolidating the struggle, deepening people's power, and I am going to retire from the podium and serve as the moderator to the panel as well. I would have just put somebody on the spot to do this moderation, but let me try. The second panel, I will deliberately call somebody to moderate. Thank you guys. I'm going to take a seat now. All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the panel consists of Mr. Marjang, founder and executive director of Gambia Participate, one of the leading civil engagement organizations in the Gambia. And Mariam also is an activist, of course, a civil rights advocate and an anti-corruption activist with global recognition. Recently, he has been awarded in Qatar for the Qatar, I don't know his name, I don't pronounce it, award for anti-corruption in the world. And man also observed elections beyond the boundaries of the Gambia, Africa, all the way to Mexico, America, and so on. So Mike is a global activist and advocate, and it's a pleasure to have him discuss the topic concerning the struggle, defending people's power, because he will have the ability to reflect beyond the soil of Nigeria and Africa, but globally. Thank you, Mariam, for accepting our invitation and welcome to the panel. And next is Mr. Madi Jobate. Mr. Madi Jobate is a human rights activist and development expert with over 30 or 40 years, I would say, in the advocacy space, both over 30 years. He's been a voice of the voiceless, and then we talk about accountability, transparency, and the rule of law. Mali have been a voice and a champion, and it's good to have Mali on the panel, and you're welcome. And on my far right, we have Mr. Babukar Young. Mr. Babukar Young is the African, continental coordinator for Pan Africa, and also a leading activist. I remember in the early days of our activism when I was beginning, Babukar Young, Mari Young, and Mali are people I greatly look up to, and they have got me. The only thing they are trying to do is to tame my stubbornness. And now I worry them more than I even worry the state, which is I like actually. Babukar, welcome to the panel. And finally, the only miss in our panel is Miss Awada Costa, Programs Coordinator, Patanka di Gambia. Our is a personal justice advocate, a human rights advocate, and also women rights advocate. Madam, it's a pleasure to have you in the panel. So let's have a discussion. And I will start with Mar, yeah, and this question will go around. But Mar, when we talk about consolidating the struggle, defending people's power in more of a social political context, what does this mean for you?
Okay. So, that's a very tough question for an advocate. I know. I think we are considered more of a advocate and like discussion than like of animal like to create trouble with man. But how do we deepen the struggle? And what are we struggling for? What are we fighting for? What is the ultimate goal? Right? Um, Experience is what really shaped advocacy. Right? In my speech, I did mention the reason why Ghana came into existence. And there's a reason why Mali was a journalist and now an activist. Right? Um, and so many of us here, we have those in the media, it might be person, others it could be an experience that shaped us to be where they are. But for advocates and activists, right, there is always a reason that made them do what they were doing. So in order to consolidate that struggle, I personally believe first is to establish what I call the deterrent, right? I Yes, the struggle needs to continue, but I personally believe the structural challenges that make us to continue the struggle is what has to be established and addressed first. Now, corruption is not something that's going to be eradicated. And I totally disagree when I hear politicians saying corruption has been here since time immemorial. Corruption is something that is difficult to fight. It is not difficult to fight. We, mankind, we're prone to be corrupt. And it depends on how you define that corruption, right? We live and, sleep around with corruption in our society, right? That has been normalized. And we have not started addressing those issues, right? The root problem. And I think that's what escalates to the government level. If we normalize corruption in our society, land grabbed from the community, an individual grab land from the community, and then eventually sell that land to a company. Everyone is intimidated to talk because maybe that guy is influential, right? Now the struggle, if you're able to mobilize the people and see the consequence of that action and the impact that the person or that the person's action will have in the community and the preservation of the environment in that community, once you're able to put that to them, they will be able to rise up and fight and prevent the reoccurrence of such. It starts from petty issues like land, football fields, magazines, and to the grand at the government level, assets worth billions of dollars. So next to nothing. How do we ensure we do not experience that again? That is what the definition, that's what will define the struggle. But most importantly, we also need to understand the struggle does not only have to be at the streets. How do we ensure the institutions, the laws that are not in place are formulated to define the powers and those responsible for asset recovery? The whole reason why we have this scandal, the whole reason why we have these issues, is because we don't have a consolidated asset management law. I think the different laws that we have in terms of asset recovery, we have the Anti-Money Act of 2013, we have the Mutual Legal Assistance, the recent law, I believe it was 2023 or 2018, the Criminal Offences Act, and the Anti-Corruption Act. All of these laws talks about asset forfeiture, asset management, asset disposal, and it gave powers to different entities. The Minister of Justice, the Attorney General Minister of Justice, can order a police to get an order from the magistrate in order to seize an asset that is suspected to be linked to corruption. The FIU can investigate the financial intelligence unit which established under the Anti-Money Act. They can also investigate assets linked to corruption. The police can seize assets suspected of corruption. So you have all of these different players, right, engaged in asset forfeiture and disposal. But if we are able to have a consolidated legal framework that says that each entity will be responsible for the management, seizure, disposal, and the recovery as well, the proceeds of those assets, right? There should be a law that should define where that money should be spent on. In 2019, when a National Assembly member asked the then Attorney General how much money has been received or recovered for the proceeds that have been generated from the sale of the assets, it was about 1 billion. Government development project. That is a red flag. I don't want to be here to talk a lot of because there's just so many structural legal issues that we need to struggle, right? Some of us need to do it through dialogue. It's part of the struggle in order to change those laws, get the institution, define the powers, and then have the systems so that you can access this information. People like Gala have to be on the street because we have realized, and this is where I'm going to end, we have realized in this country the fastest way, the swift way to get the government to do things right is through pressure. Public pressure is what forced the government to influence the government to work and get things done. And I give you an example. Last year around this time, when Ghana was calling for the publication of the list, it seems the government was working during weekend to consolidate the list of disposed assets and publish it. Since 2017, they could not prepare those documents. And we've been talking about it. And that's the good thing about our advocacy. For us, we decided the diplomatic part. But when the press started coming on from Gala, the list was published. And it was really damning. I could not imagine Jamel living a luxury life and having a vehicle sold at a second-hand mobile phone price. Like vehicles that are up and running, right? So I don't, and this is to the government. I do not think it is reasonable to wait for public pressure to do what is right. If they don't do what is right, like the former vice president will say, people are going to rise up. And people rise up when you touch issues that are connected to their heart. People rise up when you take their right. People rise up when they are suffering and they see people enjoying that suffering, or people that benefit from people's wealth. So I don't want to get into much details. I know my colleagues will have something else to say. I'll be happy to answer other questions. But the discussion on corruption is not something that we can talk and finish in an hour.
All right, thank you very much, Mark. Quite an interesting one that the government should not wait to be pressured to do what they are paid to do. Next, Mr. Madi, you can hold the mic. And my question to you is, when we talk about people's power, who are the people, and how do we ensure that everyone is included rather? Who are the people, and how do you promote inclusion when we talk about people's power?
Thank you. I think I'm seeing the people right in front of me. We are the people, and but first let me just congratulate Gala on this first anniversary. Not because we want to celebrate Gala, you know, um, necessarily, but we want to bring the issues that we have raised to Gala. We renew them, to remind ourselves of our responsibility, and to ensure that we stand, firm to continue that pressure that Mark talked about, so that we have the Gambia we deserve. Um, so I commend Ghana for that and congratulate them on this anniversary and all of us. Today in Ghana, I see young Edward Francis Smalls all over the place, and to all of you seated here. You see, everything is about the people. Everything starts with the people, everything ends with the people. All right. And the people are always the justification for everything, good or bad. When dictators rule, they claim to rule in the name of the people. When Democrats rule, they claim to rule in the name of the people. But even before that, it is we the people who give authority and legitimacy to the people who claim to govern us. So that what is evident, what is true, is that power, when we say this word all the time, power belongs to the people. Power belongs to the people. But do we understand this power, the basis of this power, the nature of this power? So that when we say power belongs to the people, how deep does it go in our heads, in our hearts, to really understand that? And how much are we prepared to put that power into practice? But it is true, power belongs to the people. As I said, everything starts and ends with the people. When Edward Francis Small, 100 years ago, was talking about no taxation without representation, for who? Who is going to be represented? Who was going to pay tax? It is the people. If you look at our constitution today, section 1, subsection 2 says the sovereignty of the Gambia resides in the people of the Gambia. And the state and all its organs derive their authority from the people, and they perform their functions on behalf of and for the welfare of the people. So when we talk about the Gambia, it's about the people. When we talk about the state, the president and his cabinet, the National Assembly, the courts, and in between them, all the institutions and officials, they don't have power. So that power is ours. But we only give them authority to exercise in our name for our welfare. That is what the Constitution says. So when we say power belongs to the people, how many of us recall section 1, subsection 2? That indeed power belongs to you. That the decisions that are made at State House, in the National Assembly, in the local councils, in the offices across this country, they are made in your name and for your welfare and on your behalf. If that is the case, therefore, if you look around this country, if there is corruption because you allow it, if there's corruption, you allow it. If there is poverty, you allow it. If there is backward, because the people allow it. That is by failing to exercise their power, to hold those that they've entrusted that power with the authority to manage our resources for our welfare, to manage it in the way that it benefits us. Let us look at Westfield here. In terms of London, Westfield would be our Trafalgar Square. Those who went to London know what I'm talking about. Those who went to New York, Westfield would be our, how do you call it, Times Square. But look at how dilapidated Westfield is. Seriously. Look at Caraba Avenue. It's our high street, our Wall Street, right? But look at how dilapidated it is. Cross over into Ibo Town here, Opundo. Huh? Go to Banjo. I won't even mention Boraba. Huh? Or anywhere in this country, look at the quality of life the people live. Look at the quality. Look at the quality of infrastructure. When we were coming to this place, we drove along the Iceman Road. And that is road that was constructed in 2021 in the run up to the election. And that road is not fit for human use. But millions have been spent on it in our name and for our welfare. Now, but do you and me as the people, how much do we understand what is the nature therefore of our power to ensure that is that accountability? That we generate that pressure Mark talks about, so that those we elect or appoint into public service serve us really, and they serve us with respect, with humility. Mark said how good and nice it is today. We could have had this last Friday. But the IGP is someone be appointed. This is based on our power, that he has the authority to be IGP, he has the legitimacy to be IGP, yet he has the audacity to tell us you cannot enter this place. And he's sitting in his office until today. Because you and me don't know our power. Otherwise, we would have said that IGP to step down. No official dares joke with the rights and the life and the dignity of the people. Because the people put you there. But do the people know the power that they have? We are sitting here today, 16 years after independence. We have Gambian youths feeling so hopeless in this country that the only solution they have is to go through the Sahara Desert and the back way. Why would you run away if you know you have power? Why don't you deal with the failures that have denied you, the officials, the institutions that have denied you the opportunities with which you could have earned a decent living in your country? Meantime, we can buy a $12 million vehicle and give it to a minister, and give another vehicle to a minister for his family. Not to mention all of the other benefits and privileges and incentives that we have shared among those who we have elected and appointed and put them into public office. It goes back to, do the people know their power? The power that they have. And that power is not just a power in terms of rights, it's power in terms of responsibilities. So it's always about the people, the struggle is always about the people. It has always been about the people. And anytime the people exercise that power, they prevail. Because the people's power is the only legitimate, is the only right power on earth. On this earth, there is no other power other than the people's power. But provided the people are conscious of their power, and that overall entails a lot of factors. He talked about inclusion, for example. How do we make sure that power is exercised in a way that there is space for everyone, regardless of your status, that there is space for everyone?
So that if that were the case, I mean, why is this compound not full to capacity? Why is it not overflowing? Is it that the rest of the population, they don't know their power? They don't know the issues? They are not challenged? They don't know their responsibilities and their rights? So, it is to say, one of our great leaders, all right, once said, no one man or one woman can free a people. Only the people can free themselves based on their conscious actions. So the people are nothing if they don't have consciousness. Because if you don't have consciousness, what belongs to you can be taken away from you. If you don't have consciousness, you can be denied your rights. If you have no consciousness, you can be enslaved and you accept your conditions as it is. So the solution, as I said, and the problem rests with the people. Whether we will have democracy or dictatorship, whether we will make progress or failure, whether we will move forward or be stagnant, rests with we the people. That is why every country you go, the constitution opens with we the people. We the people. Do we try to find out why we start our constitution? If you read the preamble of the 1997 constitution, it starts with we the people. If you read the Constitution of the United States, it starts with we the people. If you read the Constitution of Nigeria or Senegal, it starts with we the people. But do the people know that they are the people? That has been our fundamental challenge. Do we know whether we are the people? So I guess you can be a people, but you don't know you are the people. Because when we say the people, if we are not just talking about a head like Madi Jabate or Nyang here, or one head like our, down here or so. A people is a whole concept. It's a whole idea. So that when you understand that, then you realize that there's a threshold. Yes, there's a threshold, there's a standard by which we the people are not going to accept certain things. And that we the people have rights and responsibilities. And we will not hesitate to exercise our rights and to fulfill our responsibilities. Unfortunately, as I said, we are 61 years old as independence. But even before that, 100 years ago, the struggle to make the people assume their rights and responsibilities continues to be a challenge. And it is because of that, the people continue to suffer, to be disempowered, to be made voiceless, to be impoverished, to be oppressed, to be denied, to be marginalized as men and women and belonging to other groups. So on a day like this, we say, wake up you the people. Alright? It is more than just your name and where you are born also. The people is a concept. Let us interrogate and understand that so that we salvage ourselves. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Madi. And I will skip Madam Dacosta and then go to Babukar. Beyond Banjul, Babukar have been part of the few movement builders at the continental stage. My question is, many movements begin with strong momentums like Gala did, but get weakened. Do you want to tell us what helps movements sustain beyond moments of crisis? What sustain movements beyond moments of crisis?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Omar. And I think it's very important for us to see what Madi is talking about, the people being a concept. And exactly that is the reason why also movements have the issues that they normally have at the beginning. But that's always at the beginning. Because at the beginning, it's where we now identify people and their interests. And each and every person in the movement will have your own interest before it is considered. But now when it comes to the consideration, that is when also people decide now whether I want to stay, whether I want to go, whether I am in between. So now we have this concept put into two. And in building power, these three are very important in the movement. people who are the strategists, people who are the campaigners, people who are the advocates, and then the people who are the policy makers in that. So in trying to get that again, and not to have disagreement, fragmentation within the movement, we need to establish what is Omar good at. If Omar is on the street, well and good. Before he goes, I'll tell him, you don't go, you will be arrested. But when he goes, I will be on the street with him while he is arrested. Others will be like, okay, you go, you get arrested, and then we will now strategize on how to get you out. So in building movement for the people's power, these strategies should be very, very important. And again, globally, tested also in many African countries, two things are fundamental in movement building. And one is activism, two, litigation. And I think Gambia is an example of that. When Gala came, do we have a list? No, we didn't have a list. But the emergence of Gala, didn't we have a list? We had a list, that is activism. Before Gala came, we didn't have a special committee who were telling us that a vehicle like Mar is saying costs the cost of a second-hand food. Did we know that before Gala came? We didn't. Before Gala came, did we know that it was the police who strangled and killed Omar Baji? Did we know? We didn't know. Again, coming also to the litigation part here. Mar is here. They took the government, Banjul City Council and the mayor to court for them to stop the registration of, what is it called? Attestation. Do we have attestation for Banjul this year? No, we don't. This year, myself, Madi, and other colleagues took the Ministry of Finance to the National Assembly. And then for tabling the budget late. This year, do we have a budget that is tabled late? No. So the strategy in building movements lies under these two. And one is the activism, two is the litigation. So these two cannot also go in isolation. And that is why when we are building the movement, one of the things that we do is to say consolidating, never stop starting. Why we say never stop starting all over? It's because whenever you start all over again, you are fragmenting the movement into where you don't want it to go. And I think Gala has been the biggest example of it. Again, this is also not new for organizations like this in the sub-region. If you remember the Gen Z's protest and how it started in Kenya, it was as a result of a finance bill that they did not agree in principle of the taxes that have been done to the people. And what happened? The people marched to the street and demanded for it. It has made the government of Kenya release and sack the entire cabinet, including the vice president. Isn't that not a win? So in building movements, the strategies are the fundamental in also getting fit. And also, the building power is also trying to see what is what or who is what within the movement. Of course, if the motivational speaker and then the person whose wisdom is Gala's who is the person that we get into. If the calm voice, the tone level is Hakim, it's Hakim that we go in for that. So within the movement also, to avoid fragmentation, to avoid disagreement, we need to test the power of each person within the movement. If, for example, talking about the novelty, the books and everything is Aliu, we have to take Aliu's concept into that. So again, coming back to the strategy and having this campaign to lead the movement as well. This agreement is all over. Even in principles, we can disagree among things. But again, that doesn't mean that the movement will not have them. Because now the concept of Gala, for example, is not an individual doctrine. It's an idealist activity where people think that not only looted assets, but things that are injustices, things that demand accountability are there. If Gala was only stationed its concept on the asset, will they be supporting Usenu, Bojang and the brother? No. But they think that the system is broken in a way that it was not going to get that action in place. That is why they went in for that accountability space. The same with the case of Omar Baji. Therefore, the movement also needs to stand and see what it wants to happen. Again, a caution for movement is choosing and picking fights. It's fundamental. Because like we have values, and the values that we have is to fight among things that are in line with our vision and activity. So if, for example, our vision is to fight against corruption, our vision is to fight accountability, justice, what will we have to do with people selling granite cake at the other side fighting is not our problem. So in sustaining the movement, to be able to be principled in that, we need to choose our fight. Because if you don't choose our fight in what is relevant to the movement principle, it's also going to bring fragmentation. And that we have seen in Yanamar in Senegal. The example was when some of the movement leaders thought the other way around, it fragmented the movement. And now it's very rare for you to even hear Yanamar in a principle of things that they carry on. Why? Because others decided to be politicians. Others decided to go in the other way around. And that fragmented the organization's principle. But imagine if everybody had the principle of wanting to fight the injustice that we had here, it will be sustained. And finally, the Gambia has decided is a replica of the Gala in terms of people's power, and then the concept of people, like Madi was talking about, when it's a whole concept. Because you see, when Gambia has decided, came in, everybody took it as your own. The same with Gala. Some people will question, oh, who are these Gala? What is there? Yeah, Gala are people who are highly educated in universities, others have master's degrees, others are highly skilled, others know whatever they're doing that is the right thing, that are fighting for justice, fighting for accountability, and respecting people in the country in values, and also supporting what their countries are. These are people that if you don't support them, what will happen is you are now disagreeing with what Mali is talking about. Power belongs to the people and it's sovereignty of whatever, which my brother always Imran disagrees with when we call power belongs to the people, because it's the people now who should carry that power to fail. So just to finally say that, Omar, I think you will agree with me that problems happen, and of course, but when it occurs, we also need to ensure that it is fixed so that nobody carries this